I'm not on it anyway. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Coach Jan here, training with Mark, and we are about to share some concepts on finding holes. Finding holes in your own structure, finding holes in your opponent's structure, finding holes in conversation, the structure of conversation. Mark's a lawyer, I'm not, but both of us have to use this skill set in what we do, being able to look at somebody's approach, conversational or written, and to be able to find the holes in there as well. And in my experience, Mark, I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but in my experience, they feel the same as push hands. And I think that this is such a valuable thing to touch on, and to touch on it from that perspective of the same, looking for holes in the things that you are doing and saying, and how your structure is in Tai Chi, and recognizing that your structure in Tai Chi is indicative of your position in life. I think it's a really, really important conversation to have. That's how I utilize my Tai Chi, so that when I go and I compete, I am working on the things in my competitive lane that I have to work on in the rest of my life anyway. So that's why I find so much value in Tai Chi. And that's not to say that it's only in Tai Chi. I think it's actually in every discipline. However, what Tai Chi gives us is something very, very unique that we can test and apply to other disciplines too. So let's go for it. Let me make this a little bigger. We're going to get really specific in a moment. So and we'll just start with some exercises from. We'll do our normal warm up, but then we're going to go into a Yang style exercise. We're going to do a Wu style exercise, and we'll also go into more freestyle martial movements, and just finding that structure, and again, scanning your body, being able to find it in someone else's body, and being able to do it even without the physical, do it within words, within conversations, etc. So first, let's start palms facing down, imaginary string lifting from the top of the head. Relaxation cascades down the spine, so the tailbone drops straight down. The hips balance out like a bowl of water. Inhaling into the lower dantian, 3 finger lengths below the belly button. And I can't stress enough how important this kind of this inventory, taking the inventory, it's called, of your body. This posture is called gilded pillar. Gilded pillar. And you're inhaling, drawing the breath in with the belly, giving the sensation of breathing a color, and exhaling, pushing it down the arms to the palms and fingertips. That visualization goes about an inch or two beyond the palms. Special attention on the middle finger of each hand. Soften the knees so that the weight can shift. Knees slightly bent, and the weight shifts to the center of the heels. Not all the way back on the heels, but you don't want to fall back. You don't want the toes lifting up. Toes are flat down. Scan the body, and this will really start, it'll start our process of looking for holes. So, and sometimes we want to intentionally create holes, and other times we want to make sure we correct them. So here, we want to minimize tension in the body. So you scan the body, and you can start with sections of the body, meaning the head or the shoulders or the collar, and make sure that that the collar's not up and out, that it's relaxed. And Grandmaster William C.C. Chen, we call it a 5% compression. It's really just relaxed. The shoulders are down, being softened rather than tense. And scanning down. But you can also go into just muscles. You can say, okay, let me look at my neck, my face muscles. We scan here. And anytime you find tension, if you can't simply just release it right away, again, we've talked about this before, but it's going to be very important for the concept of the holes. If you release it, when you create a hole, you intentionally create a hole, you release intentionally. Boom, I release. If I'm pulling an opponent, boom, I pull that opponent into this hole that I just created. So you want to be able to do the intentional release on anywhere that you feel the tension in your body. If you can't do that, if you find the tension and it's really deep rooted and it's hard, physically hard to release, then I recommend inhaling, drawing the color into your belly, and exhaling, pushing the color visualization. As you exhale, using the visualization as a vehicle for your attention, push it into wherever you find that hard tension with the intent of melting away the tension. So you program your attention with intent. Attention has intent. So I'm recognizing that my lower back and my groin today have a little bit more tension than usual. So I'm pushing the color and I'm expanding it out with the intention of softening. And it just helps me get to that ability to release faster. Again, you want to be able to physically do it super fast, instantaneously drop weight, instantaneously create a hole. But getting to that place sometimes requires the deeper awareness, and that's what we're doing right now. And deeper awareness it's a gift to have to go through this. So inhale into the belly, exhale, drop the hands down, inhaling up, draw the color into the belly, exhaling out, uplifting heaven, inhaling up, draw the color into the belly, interlace the fingers, exhaling down, my hands are interlaced, inhaling up, stretching onto the toes, looking up, stretching out of the shoulders, out of the hips, and then exhaling down. And push that color down the arms, even down the legs. Bring the formula 2, inhaling up, even deeper. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhalation. Pushing down the arms, even down the legs. Inhaling up. Exhale, push out. Inhaling up. 1, even deeper 2, even deeper 3. 3-stage inhalation. Exhaling out. And then 4-stage inhalation, inhaling up. Even deeper. Even deeper. Even deeper. Exhaling out. One more 4-stage inhalation. We'll use the belly, the obliques, the lower back, then the entire belt. For each stage, we'll add a section. Belly, obliques, lower back, and the entire belt. Pulling all into the lower dantian, which is in the centermost point of the body, like on your central lung, the navel area. And let's widen the stance, hollow fists on the hips, feet shoulder length and a half apart. Second, I widen my stance. I do it once again. I drop the tailbone. So I'm again doing my best to identify tension that's unnecessary and release it instantaneously. So boom, release. Inhale deep, exhale. Pelvis rotates on the femur. Inhale, breath pulls you to the side and up. Eyes on the belly button, exhaling. Inhaling side and up. Exhale. Inhale to the side and hold. Exhale, sink a little lower. But do your best to keep the weight, both feet grounded. So don't lean and stretch a leg. Keep both legs as grounded as you can. And then inhale and extend the side as you've collapsed on. It's very similar to the yoga side bends. Extend upward, feel the spine up, and then exhale back. Hold. Inhale to the belly. Feel the extension, even through the eyes, looking at the belly button, and then exhale. Collapsing down. Inhale, extend the side with your arm. Make sure the feet are balanced, meaning that I'm not favoring my right side. I'm doing my best to keep it 50-50, even though, of course, my weight is on this side, but I'm connected and structured over here. Inhale up, exhaling down. And one more breath all around. And then reverse. breath should feel like a rope that you're climbing. And exhaling, release. Inhaling up. Exhale. Inhaling up. Exhale. Actually, let's do inhaling up and exhale. Sink. Inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale. One more time. Drop. And to prepare us for emptying out, let's do golden rooster. Let me fix the camera so you can get a little more of the body here. Golden rooster. I wait. I soften my hip. I'm going to do my right leg first. So I soften my left hip into my right groin. I get that connection deeper into the ground. I inhale. I'm almost pushing my big toe into the ground just a bit so that I can activate like a button this structure. And then I shift my weight to the heel and drop my tailbone. My thigh is as parallel to the ground, or if not, and the knees as high as the hip, if not higher. Turn into the camera a little bit more so you can see my hand, my heel, my other hand are all on this imaginary line that's parallel to my center line. My top hand, same hand that's up, is the same leg that's up, is covering my forehead. My shoulder blade is pushed in on my top arm. It's pushed in so that the circulation increases, but the shoulder is not up, it's down. Just the shoulder blade goes in. Other hand, boom, creating this structure, fingers pointing directly across the body, having a rounded shape on the arm, slight inflation of the tricep. And notice that my leg dropped while I was talking, so keep on checking in with yourself. And reestablishing the posture, exhaling down and spiral down, including the hip. So I'm shifting my left leg, my right hip softens into my left groin, and the weight, the muscles twist, going down the leg. You can feel the pressure, nose, knee, big toe. The second you get to that area, here I am on the side, nose, knee, big toe. The second I feel that, inhaling up. And again, I sink, I drop my tailbone, turn to the front. You have pants on that are a little tight like I do. Be careful not to rip them. And get that knee above the hip, thigh parallel to the ground, not higher. Structure on the bottom. This is a helpful little blade in judo and wrestling, Greco-Roman. Shoulder blades in on both arms as much as possible. Protecting the forehead and keep on readjusting the posture. And the breathing is into the belly. Draw the color in and spread it to the whole body. You can also inhale up the body and down the body. Bring the attention up and down. The reason I want to do this exercise is because it starts to get us softening here. And then, so in other words, I soften into my groin, but I can very easily turn this into a hole. So it's a similar mechanic, I just don't go all the way. So, but what's also interesting is we'll do one more time each side, is the creation of the structure. So we're clearly creating structure after clearly collapsing it. So we collapsed one hip into one groin. And now we've reestablished the balance of the hips. And that to me is one of the biggest notes for gauging your own holes, is finding your hips, finding when they're structured or when they're full. My hips are full right now, let's use that term. They're full and they're balanced. Again, the hips should feel like a bowl of water. Don't want to spill them in any direction. Here. But now, exhale. Now we take that principle, we adjust it. That principle is specifically for certain moments. And now inhaling up, we're reestablishing the structure of the hips. Focusing on breathing. So now let's go. I want to connect this idea to a Wu style concept. That was a Wu style variation of that exercise. I'm sure Yang style has its own as well. But we were doing an exercise this past week at Tai Chi to the people on Tuesday. We were doing brush knee, and we did brush knee by the moment from the Wu style. And I was mentioning that in the Wu style, I was originally taught to keep the hips and shoulders square forward, so that when I finish my press, everything is square. However, from training with the US Tai Chi push hands team, I learned that that structure was actually making me weak. It was creating a hole in my stance. The hole, I will show you right now, is here. Because I'm locking myself into square position, this space right here, 45 degrees here, is not is holding tension to maintain this shape. I'm holding tension to maintain this shape. Versus if I soften this hip into the groin, and now all my weight is down here and I'm spiraled into my hip. So let's just take a little look. I know wearing dark clothes makes it a little more challenging, but my hips are square and boom. Now my shoulders, my hips have turned, therefore my shoulders have turned, and it's more like I'm throwing a punch. So my press looks more like a punch now versus punching here with my hips and shoulders square. And I'm not saying that punching with the hips and shoulders square is a bad thing. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm not saying it's a good thing either. We'll talk about that. So here, I'm softening into the groin. And this concept, I've seen, I was playing with a buddy of mine who I hadn't seen in a while, and a few weeks ago, playing push hands. And his structure, he's from a very traditional Tai Chi teacher, a very well-known Tai Chi teacher. He sinks and he's about 200 something pounds. And you can feel him, he's very solid. But I can see his structure. So you want to get to the point where you can see people and see their structure and be able to gauge it against your structure. So I know that somebody who sits into hips and shoulders square forward, while they may have the perception of their own internal balance, not saying it's not there, when it comes to playing with an opponent in push hands, you have to deal with pressure. And the fact is that I know that this is potential energy for a hole. I can cause the hole by just touching the person here because there's tension that they have to maintain this posture. If I remove that tension, I'm here. I'm wound into the hip. And if I'm wound into the hip, that means I'm not at rest. It looks like I'm at rest, but I'm actually ready to pounce. I'm ready to spring out. So when I coach push hands in particular, I'm always talking about these concepts that might, often talking about concepts that may go against what is traditionally perceived as Tai Chi, or at least perceived by Westerners as Tai Chi. I think it's really, really important to recognize that even Grandmaster William C.C. Chen, who taught me this, and Josh Waiskin, who taught me this little spiral in. And of course, in lots of Tai Chi forms, they have go left before you go right. A lot of times you'll see the tension is still here when they go left before they go right, because they're holding the structure. They're holding the whole structure. It might look beautiful, but you can see that there's still more places that they can soften. More places they can soften, which makes you stronger. So let's do some exercises here. Let's take this moment. And if you're not a Wu style practitioner, I'm sure most of you aren't, we're gonna do it anyways. Be great. Heel, straight line from the heel to the top of the head. A-frame, nose, knee, toe. This will help you just in recognizing that, first of all, this is an anchored position. So we are not up. That is not straight in Wu style. This is straight. So you want to be angled. and forward. And let's just take this moment, get the hips and shoulders square so you can feel it, and then soften into the front leg. That's 70% of the weight. Even if you have 70% of your weight on your front leg, that extra bit of softening one hip into the other, you're gonna feel that spiral. And do it softly. Don't jam yourself in because you don't wanna hurt yourself. You don't wanna hurt your hip flexors, etc. You really wanna soften into it. You really wanna control the movement, control the awareness. And it might feel like you're falling downward, but you're actually anchored into this front leg and you have that back leg brace. So you're here, boom. It's really tough to pull somebody, in my experience. This is a great counter wrestling posture. My shoulder blade is in. My other hand is activated. Fingers reaching down. Not too much of an emphasis on the tricep expanding, but definitely the fingers spinning downward. From the side, you can see it's a clear chop. I'm brushing across. Ooh. And here, inhale deep. Let's come up. Switch sides. This is the beginning of the brushing exercise. Exhale, going forward. And notice that I'm going right in. Let's actually stop at the hips and shoulders squared. Middle fingers high as my nose. Both feet are parallel, back foot is facing forward also. And then we're going to soften in. And look how the back rounds, how the shoulders roll. And to be clear, this is all over my Wu style form. I no longer do any movement except one, and only partially. I do the double press with the hips and shoulders square, but then at the end I double press. At the end I still soften into the front leg because I know that it is strategically advantageous for structure in the way I play pushing. So we've softened. We've let go of that hips and shoulders square, and we soften it. And now let's go to a yang style exercise. We've done this before. I'm bringing the Grandmaster William C.C. Chen's shorter stance. We've done his shorter yang style stance. It's more of a fight tall mentality. So my feet are still shoulder width apart. Ooh. Stepping one forward. And whichever one I pick to step forward is straight, the other one is 45 degrees out. I'm standing inside of a small box, conceptually, just like your box, inside of a small box. And so here, soften into the front leg, meaning exhaling, spiraling down, inhale up with his press, inhaling on the press, and now exhale and soften the hip out. We're going to keep the toe down too. So if you are a Wu style practitioner and you pick the toe up, or even yang, some yang, we're going to keep the toe down here. We're not going to release the hip all the way. We'll do that in a second. Inhaling up. Exhale, turn the back foot out. So I inhale up, went down, inhaling up, cover the face, exhaling. We're doing this as a drill. Now it's time to pick the toe up so I can move it. I shift the weight, exhaling to that front leg, and then inhale up, create that shape, and then exhale, push, or release the hip. In this front, I went up, and now I've released this hip. The release of the hip is my weight going back, but I'm keeping the connection to the front toes in a similar way that the Wu style keeps the connection to the back heel. In this reverse breathing yang style, my big toe stays connected to the ground on my front foot that I'm releasing the corresponding hip. And then inhale, come up, guard the face, open up this other leg, exhale. When you exhale, it's as if you're dropping your weight on your opponent, meaning their arms are underneath your arms. So I'm exhaling, I'm resting my arms on their arms. They're going to react. This is part of strategy. If I drop my arms here, they're going to react more than likely lifting their arms up. So when they lift their arms up, inhaling, pressing them up, going with the pressure that you just instigated. And so therefore we're creating the hole in that moment. You give someone some pressure, they lift up, the hole is going to be behind them. You're pushing them over. If I was the person receiving the push, you're pushing them over here because I'm lifting my arms. Again, this is conceptual, but you're pushing them over this back area because they're creating that little hole in the spine. And again, the hole means the weak area. It means the area that you can either pull someone into or be pulled into yourself, or an area that you want to play over or under. You can take holes, and rather than push someone directly through it, you can spin them around the hole. You can roll them over the hole. Wherever the weakness is and the tension, you can roll the tension into the weakness or roll the tension over the weakness. Really, really important subtle concepts that really you start to feel. And there are movements, there's exercises you can do for that as well that are different, just to give you that big rolling sensation. But what I'm talking about right now pertains more to the strategy. So dropping down, inhaling up, exhale out. And then inhale back up on the same leg, cover the face, wall up, it's called boxing. Open up the back leg. So I'm essentially on 45 degree, going from 90 degree from one place to the other, dropping down, soften the groin, and my hands float down. Inhaling up. Exhale, release. Inhaling, wall up. Open up the back leg. Exhale, down. Dropping my weight onto the opponent's arm. And then inhaling up. Inflating my triceps. Filling the ribs. William Chen talks about filling the ribs with the chi. Exhale, release the hip. Keep the toe down the front leg. And then inhaling up. Normally you would go down and then spiral the opponent up. So we'll talk about that another time. I really just want you to feel the hole and then fill it back up. Open up, exhale, drop down. You've created the hole, press, and then create another one. There. Now I want to share a push hands drill made by my wonderful teammate, Jordan Forth, who I mention all the time as like real life Tarzan out in Hawaii. And this is a great exercise that's very overt for creating the holes. And we've done this before, but the concept here is you hold, you can hug the tree, you can have soft arms, you can have the arms out either way. And we're going to exhale and crank. So now I'm actually picking my toe up. I'm shifting to one leg, and look how the toe of the other foot goes up as I release the hip. The hip should feel like butter. So exhale, just melts away. Inhaling up, back to hugging the tree. Exhale, sinking and bending this leg that has the weight. And I'm spinning my opponent. And I want you to see the posture here. The lower hand, thumb spins out. The thumb spins out as the fingers gently pull. You might have the fingers on the wings. You might have it behind the shoulder, but you want to spin, roll the fingers and spin the thumb out. The top hand will turn and point across the opponent's shoulders. So from here, I'm pointing across my shoulders and the opponent's shoulders. And now I'm essentially pushing them down and rolling them over into a hole. Of course, this move has to be done with timing. So, you can find a lot of people brute forcing it in what I would consider lower level push hands. So you really want to get this with timing. The way you would get it with timing, just as a note, would be inflate to get the inflate a little bit here to get the opponent's shoulder to come up. They're probably going to want to push their shoulder down. And when they push the shoulder down, you sidestep, turn, and drop. So you go with that downward energy. You're instigating a hole, and then you create a hole. So that is the combination. But just getting the movement, going across. I recommend inhaling out because this is the inflation. The bottom hand spins up, the top hand solidifies. And then exhale, bottom hands pulling the top hands, pushing over. Inhaling out. And again, if you want to be slick with the combination, you go 1, 2. And then come back up. 1, 2. And if you want to be really slick with the footwork, you may not always need to step, but if you want to, 1, and you can 1 step out, 2. And then 1 step out, 2. Inhaling up. Then you move, you step and you inflate, making the opponent lift their elbow. They want to push their shoulder back down. When they do that, pulling across right here. My hand is under their armpit. I roll their shoulder through their neck intentionally and pull down, inhaling up. This was probably the first clean throw they ever got in the Tai Chi World Cup. On video, you can see it if you look at my 2004 moving step competitions or my 2006 martial arts reel. I have it in there, DJ scratched. So that's fun. I've grown a lot since then, but yeah, obviously it exists and you check it out. So if you want to see that move in action, it's great. It's great and very simple to pull off. And let's finish out uplifting habit. So we did three exercises with some variations. Really 4 if you count golden tortoise, golden rooster. We did golden rooster, we did brush knee from Wu style, both from Wu style. We did the press and roll back from reverse breathing yang style. And then we did a US Tai Chi push hands, team drill of creating the hole for the crank. And there's multiple types of cranks. So hopefully that, when it comes to feeling this in conversation, I think that's a larger, Mark and I may need to do another podcast so we can talk about this. But in terms of how to feel, how to adapt your push hands or your Tai Chi training in finding the holes in your own body to finding it in someone else's, in a conversation with the person. And normally, just to speak on that for a moment, I normally look at concepts. When someone shares concepts or ideas, I do my best to find where to be able to measure the strength of those concepts or ideas based on the information I have. So, but I think that it's way more nuanced when we start talking about applying these. A lot of times Tai Chi people consider themselves subtle, but in my experience, the subtleties go far deeper than a name like something called Tai Chi. Subtleties are in everything we're doing. So I think that it's great to be able to have conversations about applying this to conversation, to interpersonal relationships, because it can be done, and it's great. So inhaling up. As a matter of fact, that was one of the key things that Josh Waitskin would coach on the US Tai Chi push hands team. Is the thinking behind Tai Chi in terms of the strategy, and he would even call it Jedi mind tricks, being able to get people to see things that you want them to see and to do things that you want them to do through use of language. So I think it's really, really important stuff. Inhaling out. And scoop, white line to the belly. Exhale, watch it down. Inhaling out, scoop. And you can even feel a roll here. This is the roll when we're talking about taking the hips away. Bringing it up, let's do 45 degrees. And then roll back and push down. You can emphasize that for today. Exhale, roll back and push down. 90 degrees, roll back and push down. Drawing a wet line in, turning, roll back and push down. Both hands at the top of the head onto the toes. Exhale, wet line down in front. Inhaling out, turn to the right. Exhale, wet line down. Inhaling out, turn to the left. Exhale, wet line down. Inhaling out over the shoulders. Pull behind you. Exhale, roll the line down. Soft part. Of the shoulders. Back. Inhaling out. Just the fingertips. Just the fingertips. One more. Put the hands together. Around the chest. Lung, tapping around and massage. Sternum, up and down. Collarbone. Chin. Switch for the hormones. Ears. Up, over, down, under, strong pressure. Fingers to the scalp, front to back. Back to front. Front to back. Back to front. Massage the scalp. Front to back. Back to front. Slapping. Front to back. Back to front. Massage the top of the forehead. And then reverse it. Temples. And reverse it. Under the eyes. And reverse it. Up the face to the side. Yeah. Up the face to the side. Release. Face to the side. Release on the eyebrows. Heart. Switch. Top and bottom. Switch. Sides. Top. Sides. Bottom. And flip the fingers out. Thumbs. 1, 2, 3. Grab. 1, 2, 3. Tap. 1, 2, 3. Top and bottom. Sides. Might as well do this because this is so important. And I don't always do this on my own. Massaging the top and bottom of the fingers, letting the fingers fall into the natural grooves where the pressure points are, and then massage the sides of the fingers. Fingers on the side, squeezing them, and switch sides. Press and hold, and drill. 1, 2, 3, and around. Second circle bigger, third circle biggest. Top and bottom of the thumb, and then the sides of the thumb. Top and bottom, let the fingers fall to the natural grooves, go all the way to the nail, and then the sides. Middle, top and bottom, feel those wonderful pressure points, and the side. Top and bottom, and sides. Top, and then 1, 2. Close the eyes, inhale white light, the belly. We're going to use the sound to move the vibration, sound and visualization to move our attention through deeper points in the body. The vibration is going to get there. It's just about how conscious we are of the vibration from the sounds you make. So inhale deep, white light, and then we'll use the term ah and do our best to put our minds into our bone marrow. So you want to go deeper than the bone into the bone marrow and scan. You can start from the vertebrae up or from the toes up, or you can go from the vertebrae through the arms, whatever direction you want to go, but start in the belly first. White light and ah. Inhale white light up the front of the body, and then roll it down the back with the same sound through the vertebrae. Ah. Inhale the left side, down the right side through the shoulder and the leg. Inhale, white light to the belly. Push it down the legs into the ground. Let the vibration and the color carry the light up and around you like a fountain in reverse, making a big bubble. One more to the belly, white light. Push it to the top of the head like a fountain that comes out, all directions, a big bubble around you, expand into the space that you're in. Feel your awareness expand. Really listen for the vibrations of your voice on the walls, etc. Relax, gratitude for the body. Good people in your life, the space that you're in. Thank you so much for training. I'm going to press stop. Always ask some questions. Oh yeah, I got a real world t-shirt on, so you know what to do with that. I'll put the link right here and check us out. Love you.